to Reno, Nevada. A Boise State win today means they'll leave the Mountain West as champions. But the Broncos remember their last visit to Reno when they came to town with a 24-game win streak and BCS title game hopes on the line.
And now Kyle Bronsmith will come on to try to win this game. We are going to overtime. This from 29. This is turning into a disaster. It is Martinez with the win. Nevada has done it.
Today, the Wolfpack looks for another magic moment against the Broncos. College football is presented by K Jewelers. Welcome to what could be the final game of the Boise State-Nevada rivalry that dates to 1971. Before they leave for the Big East, Boise State can earn a share of the Mountain West Conference Championship. With a victory today, the Broncos will share the league title with Fresno State and San Diego State. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Ed Cunningham. It's great to have you with us. Janine Edwards will join us shortly. When you talk about Boise State football, we're so used to talking about offense and because of great players like Kellen Moore. But this year's team is 9-2, and Ed, they have done it with a suffocating defense.
And they've been good on defense throughout that run, even when Kellen Moore was the quarterback throwing it around. And, of course, they returned a bunch of starters from last year. Oh, wait a minute. It was one guy. They had one starter coming back in their secondary from last year's defense. But it helps when you find a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, first-year player at a junior college, went to high school in South Carolina, went to junior college in Kansas, and because his mother liked Chris Peterson, he's now playing his college ball at Idaho. And DeMarcus Lawrence may end up being the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And he is very key because of the way that Nevada runs that zone read. The defensive end has to be very athletic, and Lawrence is.
Boise State, Nevada has turned into a really good rivalry, and sometimes strange thing happens in rivalry games. We've already seen it in warm-ups.
I've never seen anything like this. Chris Ault, the head coach of Nevada, decided instead of warming up on the field, the football field, and where the game's going to happen, they went over to their practice field because the weather was bad this week. Ault didn't feel like they got enough full field work on Wednesday, which is kind of your full speed day. So instead of cutting the field in half, they wanted to use the entire field for Cody Fajardo. This is a young man, very talented. He's fast. He has a good arm. And Nick Rolovich, the first-year quarterback coach, said this is a time for him to have his best game against a good opponent. He hasn't had that yet.
And here comes the Wolfpack of Nevada. Nevada running back Stephon Jefferson has authored a record-setting season. The Wolfpack needs him to shine today against a dominant Boise State defense.
This is Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
Welcome back to Reno, Nevada. Let's check in with Janine Edwards.
Well, Mike, when Boise State came here 2 years ago with a 24-game winning streak on the line, they were defeated by Nevada. And who was at the helm that day? Well, their record-setting quarterback, Colin Kaepernick. The same Kaepernick that's been making headlines the last couple of weeks for the 49ers. Now, Coach Chris Ault texted his quarterback and said, "I am so proud of you." And then he used Kaepernick as inspiration this week to his team, showing them film of Kaepernick leading the 49ers to victories over the Saints and the Bears on Monday Night Football. He said, "Guys, this is what it takes. This is the epitome of an underdog playing to win.
Rivalry games are just the best. Colin Ditzworth will kick, and Williams Rhodes is deep. Strong wind blowing across the field, quartering somewhat. It may help a little bit. Williams Rhodes watches it sail out of the end zone. Boise State's quarterback is Joe Southwick. After some early stumbles, the successor to Kellen Moore has made progress all year and is coming off of one of his best games. 17 out of 20 against Colorado State. He's got 85%.
And he's improved his mechanics in the pocket. He's improved reading defenses. And it's that little progress along the season the coaches have seen. Young man works very hard to improve.
Harper is his running back. Quick out to Miller. Miller retreats and taken down around the 26. Let's take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, a guy who's kind of come onto the scene, had a great game against Colorado State, is Holden Huff, a tall, kind of narrow tight end who has great ball skills. And then Jamar Taylor. We mentioned at the top of the show there was only one defensive returning starter from last year, and it was Taylor, a guy who is battling, I think, his teammate Lawrence for Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year potentially.
Harper will get his first carry and taken down around the 31-yard line. Defense has been an issue, especially against the run for the Wolfpack. They are giving up 213 yards a game. That's 111th in the country.
And 2 weeks ago, both these teams coming in after byes, but the win for Nevada against New Mexico, Chris Alt said, was very important for his defense. New Mexico becoming a very good run team in their first year under Bob Davie as the head coach. And he said the second half, we finally started doing some of the things we've been coaching all year with the misdirection run. So we'll see if it pays off today. 3rd and 4. Here comes pressure. They throw underneath, but it's bobbled out of bounds. It'll be interesting to see where this ball is marked, because the ball went out right at the sticks. Marion Johnson knocked it away from Shane Williams Rhodes. Good blitz called that time by Mike Bradison. It made the quarterback throw it early, and the ball is fumbled forward, but you can't gain that yardage, so the spot goes where the ball carrier was tackled, comes back to where the ball was fumbled in the field of play.
He played it a little close to the vest yesterday when we asked him, what do you do if you get him in a 3rd and long? Do you come after him, or do you play coverage? He said, I'm not going to tell you.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
And they have been. Nevada has been a little vanilla on defense as their defensive front, which is very young, has come along. But with that bye week and in a game like this, not surprised that they brought a ton of pressure. That was an all-out blitz there.
Trevor Harmon to punt to Khalid Wooten, who was 2nd in the country in punt returns. 16.4 a return this year. Short tells everybody to get away, and he gets a good bounce inside the 20. 48-yard kick. This is truly a game, offense against defense, with some stunning statistics. Boise State has allowed only 3 touchdown passes this year. They've held 4 teams to under 100 yards throwing the ball. Nevada is the only team in the country to score 30 points in every game in FBS play, and 263 yards a game on the ground. That is 7th in the country. So it's the irresistible force against the immovable object. And they'll start on the ground with Stephon Jefferson, who's 1st in the conference with 1,564 yards. If he would gain close to 200 yards today, a huge number considering this defense, he would be the national leader in rushing this year.
And his coaches, frankly, haven't been happy with his consistency over the last several weeks. They don't feel like he's running with the same energy level that he had run with earlier in the year. And you can tell that they've directly challenged this young man in this rivalry game to step it up a touch.
Fajardo on the carry makes the late toss to Aaron Bradley, and Bradley has a 1st down. And that's what this offense can do. It can make you tackle in space, and they've got the speed to burn you.
And Fajardo, a quarterback who does as much or more than any quarterback in the country. That's one of the things Nick Rolovich, who came from Hawaii this year, the new quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, wanted to do. was put more on his quarterback in the passing game. So now he has an entire field passing game, the zone read, and oh, by the way, run the option too.
Fajardo comes in with 900 yards rushing. This time he gives it to Jefferson, and he is popped by Tommy Smith, the middle linebacker, the third leading tackler on this team. He and C.J. Percy, or J.C. Percy, excuse me, outstanding linebackers for this Boise State defense.
And they're going against Fajardo for the very first time. Fajardo last year not able to play against Boise State. He was splitting time, but he had a shoulder injury. And as I mentioned at the start, the coaches are ready for this guy to put together a full game, run, throw everything against a quality opponent, especially in a rivalry game.
Fajardo wants to run the option, gives it to Jefferson. Jefferson dragging tacklers with him to the 40-yard line. This will bring up a 3rd and 1.
One of the things, and I really think that Nick Rolovich is a very bright guy. Reminds me a lot of Chad Morris from Clemson. And one of the things that he wanted to do was get the zone read look, where the quarterback rides a running back on almost every running play. So you have no idea if that was just an inside run play or if there was a zone read. It's done every play on this.
Fajardo keeps it, and this time he didn't have a chance to do much of an option read. Jeremy Ioane came up from the safety spot and made the tackle in the backfield. That is a nice play.
This we were talking about as the safety comes down. Ioane, he's going right for the quarterback, and the quarterback can't see him. It's that zone read where the read was the quarterback keep it, but because the blitz came from the blind side, a nice call by Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, gets a good call there that the quarterback didn't see it coming.
Tenpenny punts to Potter, and with the wind, he gets off a rocket. A 63-yard bomb that reaches the end zone. And Boise State will start from the 20 when we come back to Reno in a scoreless first quarter. Welcome back to Reno. Scoreless first quarter. Boise State and Nevada, 10:28 to go. Each team has had the ball once. Southwick in the offense will take over from the 20. Harper the tailback. Southwick wants to throw. Goes out to Potter. The quick out. Potter up near the 30-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by Charles Garrett, starting corner who moved from safety.
Southwick, think about replacing Kellen Moore. And just the amazing career. And I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that Kellen Moore is hanging around the NFL. I thought that was a really special guy. But just think of the shoes to fill. And then you go to a place like Michigan State, don't play great, but this young man has continued to work, and you can see the improvement on the back half of the season.
Southwick fakes to Harper, goes out to Potter again, makes one man miss, and then spun down by Jeremiah Green.
Of course, they had quite a drop-off this year offensively. Robert Prince comes in as the first-year offensive coordinator. Of course, 2 offensive coordinators have left the last 3 years when Brian Harsin went to Texas and Brent Pease went to Florida. But it was a matter of Prince and the offensive staff more figuring out what they had and what they were good at. And they have improved. And, of course, with Harper running hard, getting close to 1,000 yards, that's how.
Fullback comes in to lead block for Harper, gets a good one, and Harper will run for 8.
And do not make a mistake. Now, this is a draw. This is not a power run play here. This is delayed draw and a wonderful block in the middle of the offensive line. The defensive line for Nevada actually ran a stunt and ran themselves out of there. But this is a power running team for Boise State. Don't think that because you're watching a West Coast game and it's Boise State, Nevada, both of these teams rely on old-fashioned downhill running. Make no mistake about their formations. They like to run it.
Harper again. Drags a tackler with him, has a first down at the 46-yard line. Albert Rosette, the tackling machine, makes the stop, his 114th on the season.
Of course, senior day here for Nevada, and Rossetti is a guy who, there's a tackling drill that everyone's done in their life in football where there's a blocker and the runner behind him and you have to go defend them. He is so good at it, they've now named that drill the Rossetti drill here at Nevada. Pretty good way to go out as a senior.
6th and 3rd down conversions in the country last year. 43rd this year. The percentage just went up. Down to the 15-yard line. DJ Harper before he is stopped by Duke Williams after a gain of 30. and Harper is approaching the 1,000-yard mark for this season.
You know, you hear that term, stay ahead of the chain. So you want to be at 2nd and 6 or 5 or 4, 3rd, 3, 2 or 1, because you can do anything. And Harper does a good job. Good blocking up front. Everybody from Nevada had a body on them, but Harper got through that seam and showed good burst for a guy who's had 2 major knee reconstructions in his career.
Williams Rhodes checks into the running back. He'll get the carry. He's the little guy that's got the speed to get to the outside, but not before Jeremiah Green can cut him down for a 2-yard loss.
Williams Rhodes has become the most dynamic player for Boise State, and when we were talking to the Nevada coaches, it was just the speed. This is a wildcat formation with the running back Harper taking the snap, but that was a wonderful job by Jeremiah Green. Did you see the balance? Didn't drop his head. You hear that term, face up. His face was up the whole time. Good open field tackle against a dynamic athlete.
Ball is floated for the end zone and wide open. Chris Potter for the touchdown. Southwick had to wait, but eventually found Potter, who was wide open. For Southwick, his 16th touchdown pass of the year, the 4th caught by Potter. Fresina for the point after.
Boise State's offensive line has been good all year with pass protection, and this route took forever. Potter lined up to the right, came all the way back, and was so wide open you could throw a quacking duck up there and it would have been a touchdown.
Boise State jumps out on top. We're here in the high desert country. Actually, it turned into a beautiful day. Last couple of days have been nasty. A lot of rain, which they normally don't get up here. Brock and Hale are deep to receive the kick. Goodale kicking slightly into a wind. It's more cross than anything else. High and short. Taking it to 25 by Hale. Got some room. Hale across the 40-yard line and out of bounds. Let's check in with Janine.
Well, Mike and Ed, you guys had mentioned at the top of the show how Nevada warmed up in their practice field. Very unusual here. I spoke to Coach Alt as he came on the field before the game, and he said, you know, we've only done that maybe twice in the last 6 or 7 years. He calls it a polished practice. It's because of the bad weather, like you mentioned, 2 days this week. Their practices were not what they wanted. They just wanted to be able to run entire drives up and down the field and polish some things. One thing they want to polish right now, the tight ends need to do a little better job blocking on the inside for the running game.
All right, Janine, thanks very much. Fajardo squared up his shoulders and threw a bullet complete to Ricky Turner, his 52nd catch. It's a guy they're extremely happy to have. 1-year junior college ball. He is a dynamic wide receiver for them. Jefferson straight ahead. Looked like there was some room, but boy, it closed up in a hurry after a gain of 3, and it closed up in a hurry because of J.C. Percy, who leads his team in tackles. That was a big hit.
This defensive front seven, when you watch them on tape, I was really impressed. And of course, this is a team that's down maybe their best inside defensive tackle in Mike Atkinson, who was hurt against San Diego State. But they've just been rolling guys in. They're awfully powerful.
Jefferson again. A couple, and he was stopped by Tyler Horn. And Horn is an interesting story because 265, he's playing tackle. Usually you don't see guys like that. They moved him inside because of those injury situations. He's just got to do double duty.
And when you watch this defensive line, Pete Kwiatkowski, who's the defensive coordinator, also works with the defensive tackles. It's as technically sound a front as you'll see in the entire country.
Try to run a quarterback draw here, and he is just swallowed up. Did not have a chance, and Boise just really came after him. Ricky Chongachu was the first guy to get there. He picked up his first full sack of the season.
Well, a lot of pressure coming from Ukuachu. Does a really nice job. That's just, it's tough blocking. That Chongachu had already defeated the inside block, but then the quarterback had nowhere to go because the tight end to the side could not pick up Ukuachu, and he just ran right by him. You got to get a hat on that guy.
4th and long, but it's in that no man's land area, so they'll go for it. Got a receiver wide open, but he's out of bounds. Just too far for Ricky Turner. He was open, the ball was thrown on target, but Fajardo needed to be a yard short.
And I think the right decision here to go for it on 4th. But remember last week we had that Iowa-Nebraska game? Those corner throws when the wind is coming across is really difficult to judge.
Boise State takes over at its own 34-yard line. They're up 7-0 on the Wolfpack. Scored on their last possession. Harper, the running back, in a power formation to the left. And Harper will get it. Straight ahead for almost 5 yards, and that offensive line for Boise is creating some gaps in there.
It's a group that not much depth up front for this offensive line, but they've held together pretty well.
Harper on the delay. Shakes a tackle and has a first down out to the 46. Obviously has some escapability. A young man who had ACL tears in 2009, 2010. He is a 6th-year senior.
Good delay, nice burst. He's shown some fresh legs here today after a week off.
And that last carry gave him 1,000 yards for the season, which is the magic number for a running back.
And you've got to think a guy like Harper in his 6th year after 2 major knee constructions, end of the season bye week, he probably spent a lot of time in the ice bath last weekend.
Yeah, both defenses are going to be dog-tired before this one is over. Jay Ajayi gets his first chance to run the football. A young man out of Plano, Texas. He's more of a tough inside runner than Harper is.
And this is a place where you're in that 3rd and medium. We've talked about, the stakes being ahead of the stakes, and now a little bit behind. This is an area where I think you're probably going to go for it on 4th down. So maybe this is a place where you could try to take the top off the defense if you're Boise State with a long throw.
Grant Hedrick is the new quarterback, number 9. He is the short yardage and goal line specialist as a quarterback. Late pitch to Harper and has the first down.
Well, that's such a difficult thing to defend. I didn't realize that Hedrick was in. I assumed that it was Southwick, so thinking they may try to get a throw there, but they've been developing this package for Hedrick, who's a very good runner, very good option guy. It's been mostly short yardage and goal line. Well, that's not short yardage nor goal line, so a nice changeup and really a very nice option pitch by Hedrick. If he doesn't pitch that as late as he does, I don't think they pick up the first.
Nice quarter for Harper, 75 yards. This presentation of college football presented by Kay Jewelers will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to Reno as we start the 2nd quarter. Boise State and Nevada.
And I think that quarter break came just in time for Nevada's defense. They were starting to look a little tuckered. Those 3-4 yard runs starting to become 6, 7, 8 yard runs. I think that break may have helped Nevada, almost like in basketball, getting that timeout to stop a run.
Interesting move here. Grant Hedrick stays in at the quarterback, and he'll throw another flanker screen, but this is a double pass. Back to Hedrick. Hedrick to the 20. Hey, you just had a feeling something was up if your short yardage goal line specialist stays in on 1st and 10.
Well, we're kind of used to seeing Boise State have a bunch of crazy plays, and Hedrick's back out there as the quarterback, but this is a really nice throw that time by Chris Potter. There was no doubt he was coming back. He threw an accurate ball, a nice spiral.
Well, you can see Hedrick's got some speed when he gets out in the open, too. Gain of 20. Hedrick stays in. Jet sweep. Wiggins Rhodes reverses his field inside the 5 to the 2. Boy, he's dynamic, isn't he?
Small in stature, very quick, 5'6", 154 pounds. They've built packages for this guy, but what you don't expect is him to run through some tackles. There was 2 Nevada players who had him in the backfield for a loss.
If you're listed at 154, how much do you really weigh?
About 48, maybe. I don't think it matters, though, when you're that fast.
Harper in a tailback. Straight up the middle. Touchdown. Nice block by Dan Paul, the fullback, number 47, who never carries the ball, not one all year long, but he hammers it up into the hole and clears the way for Harper. 66 yards in 11 plays with a signature Chris Peterson trick play among them in game 20. Christina for the point after. And Nevada's offense is going to have to respond to this opening 14 points by Boise State. Welcome back to college football, presented by K Jewelers, part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. If you just joined us, Boise State has scored on consecutive possessions and lead Nevada 14-0.
And I know we are just into the second quarter, but after seeing Boise State get a lather on offense and the way DJ Harper is running, I feel like the Wolfpack need an answer on this drive. Some type of points.
Brock and Hale are deep for Goodale's kickoff. And the wind really whipping now. And that was right through the uprights. Jefferson powers his way through.
And of course, this is the origin place of the so-called pistol offense. That more of a straight shotgun, but usually the quarterback a little closer to the center, and Chris Ault did that because he wanted a more power, vertical, straight-ahead run game than a sideways run game that you sometimes have to do with a shotgun.
Quarterback keeper. Fajardo out to the 41, and it's really all about angles. If you're 7 yards deep as a quarterback, all you can do is have a running back on your hip. He wanted that running back behind him.
He wanted the shotgun formation with an I formation type of run angles for the running backs. And I remember when Adrian Peterson first got to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma ran a shotgun sideways running attack, and they said, oh, wait a minute, and they started putting him more in the I formation for that exact reason.
Jefferson again lowers his shoulder and powers forward near the 44-yard line. And a tip of the cap to Bob Davie for the job he has done in his first year. A lot of people didn't think that was possible.
No, and New Mexico, a place that was doing great under Rocky Long for many years and had fallen off deeply under Mike Loxley, coming back on. Of course, Rocky Long now in this part of the country in the Mountain West doing a wonderful job at San Diego State.
Third down, about 3. Fajardo wants to throw. Now he tries to take off, but he can't get out of the grasp of Darren Kuntz. The 290-pound senior had the back of the jersey and wouldn't let go. And this is the third series where they have had a third and 3, 2, or 1. Instead of running the ball, they tried to throw or a quarterback draw, and it hasn't worked.
And this was Cody Fajardo, I think, not taking what they had. The defense for Boise State, they had a bad alignment where they overshifted to one side. He should have just taken off on that as soon as that lane opened. Instead, he brought his eyes off and didn't accelerate. So Kuntz gets the big sack. Because if you're at 4th and 3, even if you throw that ball away, I think you're probably going for it again. But instead, now you have to punt it away to Boise.
Waited one count too long, or he would have had the first down. So Boise makes a defensive stand, and the Broncos get the ball back when we return to Reno. Well, you mentioned the last series. It was important for Nevada to move the ball. I think it's equally important for their defense to stand tall on this series. Firing straight ahead for about 6. And Janine Edwards.
Well, Mike, Patrick, Nevada's defense, they will need a little bit of a breather here at some point. They were tired when they came off the field after that last series by Boise State. And the one thing that the coaches for Nevada were saying was you got to do a better job playing inside out and keeping an eye on the tight ends who have been doing some damage.
Everybody's been doing some damage for Boise State. Ajayi again. Hard to bring down, and he's maybe a half-yard shy of a first down.
You go back to that.
That's a good mark, and probably is.
You go back to that 3rd and 10. What a backbreaker that is for Nevada.
Absolutely.
You've got it covered. Southwick had nowhere to go. Nevada was playing coverage. They sniffed every route, and all of a sudden, now you're getting a face full of a 220-pound running back who looks like he's running to say, hey, you know, as soon as Harper's gone, I'm going to be a star next year. And so that you go back to that 3rd and 10 when this game is over. I'm not sure that's not one of the very key plays in this ballgame.
Chris Auld has not been happy with his defense all year long. He promised he would spend a lot more time with the defensive unit next year. Southwick throws. This one is complete. Bouldervine, a receiver that certainly passes the eye test at 6'4", 214, and he can run.
Nice job of Bouldervine catching this ball away from his body. The ball was thrown on time and accurately. There's a couple of things that Southwick has really worked on is throwing the ball before the receiver comes out of his break. That time he did a good job before Bouldervine cut to the outside. The ball was on him and accurately thrown, and it allowed Bouldervine to at least try to get some yards after the catch. He didn't have to go down to make the catch. He could stay on his feet.
8 minutes to go in the first half. Ajayi to the 42.
Ajayi, a guy who had a difficult start to his career, tore his ACL, blew out his knee in the first fall that he was here, and then was left home from last year's bowl game. He was suspended. He pled guilty to a misdemeanor petty theft arrest, but seems to have worked. And Coach Peterson said, people asked, what did he have to do to get back in the good graces? And Peterson just said, a lot. And he did it all. And he looks like he's going to be the next great one here at Boise State.
2nd and 4. Harper is back in. Needs to reach the 38. Got to the 39. So it's going to be another 3rd and short. A play caller's dream, because you can open up the entire play.
Well, and you'd go for it on 4th down here too. That's the beauty. And I've got to think Robert Prince, why wouldn't you at least have something for Southwick to look at? Now look, Boise State's been pounding the ball, and an inside run and get the yardage you need is fine, but I think this is where you can be kind of aggressive.
They've made 4 out of 5 on 3rd down. They've averaged 12 yards a play. They won't get 12 on this on a quarterback keeper, but they do get the first down.
Now this is Boise State just kind of saying, you know what, we're pretty sure our offensive line is doing okay in this ball game, and they're going against a defense that frankly has had their struggles here in the second half of the season. But that's the offensive staff saying, okay, yeah, it's 3rd and short, we can take a shot, but we can also pick up 3 or 4 yards with a quarterback sneak too.
Play action fake by Southwick. Steps up in the pocket, throws a bullet to Miller. Miller shakes a tackle, dives to the 10. The criticism of this defense has not been lack of effort or lack of talent. It's been lack of being in the right place on a particular called defense.
Man, it's so hard with the play action. The safeties actually do a nice job. They don't bite on it, but there's 3 routes to that side. They're layered short, medium, and long, and the medium throw typically comes open, and it did there for Matt Miller. Good accurate throw by Southwick.
Ajayi inside the 5.
Well, this was reminiscent of that Fiesta Bowl back at the end of the 2006 season, where the 2-point conversion with the Statue of Liberty play, where Zabransky held the ball behind his back. And Southwick doing his best impersonation there, I think. And now, because they have Hedrick, and he is their kind of short yardage guy, he comes in once they get inside the 5.
And Harper back in at tailback. Harper on the toss. That time, Nevada's defense was right there, and it was Albert Rossetti, the middle linebacker, who wasn't about to let anything bad happen on the corner.
You hear the term scrape for a middle linebacker. That means just go parallel, and if anybody's coming through, use your hands to get off of them. No blocker got through. Good slow play, and then explosion to the tackle by Rossetti.
Now it's 3rd and goal. Southwick comes back in.
You got to be careful if you're Nevada with all of these guys spread out. Remember on that 3rd and 10 when the defensive line was split, this could be a quarterback run.
And it is. And they were waiting for it. Solid tackle by Dre Bell. The outside linebacker, at least he was ready. He made sure that wasn't going to work.
Remember, Bell was the guy who got caught up on the umpire earlier in the game. Excellent job using his hands. That was a one-on-one block with the tight end that time, Chandler Koch, and he did a wonderful job Bell did of knocking him off with his hands to make the tackle.
Fresina for presumably a 20-yard field goal. With Boise State, you never know, but he knocks through the 3-pointer. Our halftime score, 17-0. Coming up, John Saunders and Jesse Palmer. They'll come by with the Capital One halftime report. Let's go to Janine Edwards.
Coach, you had told us that your offense was slowly but surely making progress each week. What are you seeing from them today that pleases you so far?
Well, we've been fairly methodical. You know, we got to do a good job of hanging on the ball, not put our defense in a bad situation, and hopefully be able to hit a couple things downfield.
Now, you did tell us that this would be your biggest test of the season on defense. So far, it looks like you're passing that test. Why is that working?
Well, we're doing okay, but Nevada, you know, they're a second-half team, and they run the ball very well, and so this is going to be a big half, obviously, coming up.
All right, Coach, we'll see you second.
At the half, our score, Boise State 17, Nevada nothing. When we come back, John Saunders, Jesse Palmer will catch you up with the Capital One halftime report. This presentation of college football presented by K Jewelers. We're 17-0 at the half. 20th ranked Boise State over homestanding Nevada on Senior Day. And it was a dominant performance by Boise State on both ends of the field. Did you see anything there that led you to believe that Nevada's got a legitimate shot at coming back?
I felt like Nevada, when they got their inside run game going, it opened up the rest of their offense. For some reason, when they crossed over midfield, that kind of went away, and they had those third downs where they went backwards. But I think that Nevada's going to need something. They're not they don't cause a lot of turnovers defensively. I think Chris Ault's going to have to take some chance in his kicking game, either a fake punt, a fake field goal. I think he's going to have to change the possession pattern of this game a little bit, because it doesn't look like his defense is going to have much luck slowing down Boise State this afternoon.
Nevada will get the ball to start the second half. Brock and Hale are deep. Brock will bring it out. No blocking in front of him, and stop shy of the 15-yard line. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary as we start the third quarter here in Reno.
Well, for Boise State, they've been one of the best defenses all year, which is unbelievable when you think about all of the guys that graduated. 5 went to NFL defensive camps off of last year's team. And this offense going back to the pre-Kellen Moore years. A lot of people who grew up watching Kellen Moore over 4 years as the quarterback at Boise State got used to the ball being thrown all around the field. But this year, gone back to a more power running attack. And Boise State, with 2 very effective backs here late in the season, have been very good.
Jefferson on the give will pick up about 3, and we go to Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, the focus for Nevada at halftime was trying to settle down their quarterback, Cody Fajardo. They had said that this is a huge game for him. He needs to perform. And offensive coordinator Nick Rolovich told me, we've got to get him dialed in. He has not looked comfortable at all. And, guys, I'll finish after this play.
Fajardo straight back, throws over the middle. That's his tight end, Zach Sudfeld. And let's go back to Janine.
So, guys, head coach Chris Ault walked all the way out from the locker room with Fajardo, talking to him, and told me, we have been moving the ball, but Cody has not been seeing the whole field. So we're trying to settle him down, get him to relax. He needs to see his open guys. He said, we have had open guys. He's just not seeing them.
Thanks, Janine. He is a sophomore. They have a lot of promise for him. This time he gives straight ahead on 3rd and 1. Jefferson, the judges coming in to mark it right at the sticks. And now they're going to say first down.
And that was all Jefferson finishing that run, because the offensive line for Nevada, it wasn't a power run play. It was almost like a delayed blocking scheme, and they got pushed back.
Jefferson this time off the right side. Got a good block on the outside by Sudfeld, open up a little bit of a hole. Last time Nevada was shut out, guess who? Boise State did it in the first half last year.
And Boise State has been unbelievable on defense in the first half this year. 40 total points allowed coming into this game in the first half.
That's close to impossible.
For the whole season. Yeah, it's unreal.
Less 4 points a half. Fajardo, pressure coming, steps up. Boy, on the run, he has been terrific. Got this one to Arense, the big tight end, who's 255 pounds and gains 33 yards.
Arense goes with a delayed release, and the defense completely loses him as Sudfeld runs the post. Just got lost in the wash. A good read, and it looks like Fajardo, listening to his coach, getting more of a snapshot of the defense, figuring out, okay, if they run with the post, what else is open? Came right back to Arense for a huge game.
He has been so much more effective out of the pocket. This time on the run, Fajardo down to the 20. Ioane made the tackle, but not until he had reached the Boise State 20-yard line.
And when you watch Fajardo on film, he's not the quickest guy. He doesn't have the best. He's got some quicks. He can make some moves, but when he gets going 5-6 yards into his run, he is very fast.
First time in the red zone. Jefferson. First and goal, Wolfpack.
And there is the inside run game that they were able to get going in the first half. And you notice the play calling a little different this time over the 50-yard line. They're still keeping Jefferson going. And we mentioned that the coaches wanted to see that extra pop of energy that Jefferson showed in the first half of the season against Boise State. And it looks like they're getting what they want out of the junior.
Going to go with 4 tight ends in this formation.
Sets up for a run action pass, doesn't it?
You would think. They run the option. Fajardo with the keeper down near the 1. Darian Thompson, one of the safeties, made the tackle. Fajardo last year was the WAC freshman of the year. Chris Ault said one of the better throwers he's ever had. And only a sophomore.
You could run that option again. Right now, Boise State a little bit on their heels defensively.
Jefferson to the goal line. Looked like he was in. No signal. Now there is. Touchdown. $86 yards on that drive. After the entire first half, they got only 90. They came out like they were on a mission.
Excellent job at the point of attack by Colby Arense, the tight end, who had the great catch on the release where Sudfeld ran off the safety. But that time, nice job at the point of attack by the tight end.
Hardison for the point after. And they are right back in this ball game. 17-7 early third quarter.
And this would be a place if you wanted to be aggressive. You got some momentum. You're at home. Last game of the season. You're already in a bowl game. That an onside kick may make sense.
Ditzworth will kick it away. Williams Rhodes on the return. Got to the outside. Williams Rhodes with all that speed to midfield. 41 yards.
One of the big issues for Boise State this year is they've allowed 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. They've gone to pooch kicking almost exclusively. And now they get to turn the tables a little bit. And Boise State getting away with a little bit of a hold there on the outside.
It was more than a little bit, wasn't
by
it?
Jake Hardy, the tight end on special teams. Hardy very lucky that this ball not back at about the 20-yard line right now.
And the Nevada players were really yelling about it.
And they should have been. That was holding, no doubt.
Southwick. Pump fake. Deep throw. Man wide open. It's Miller. Behind everybody. 52 yards. Matt Miller. He has been wide open twice in this game. Boy, just a simple little pump fake and see you later.
And the coverage for Nevada never rotated over to that side. There was confusion about what the coverage was, and the wind, it's worth noting, the wind changed. It was going mostly right to left in the first half, now going left to right. So Boise State actually gets the wind at their back and takes advantage of it.
How's that for an answer to a score? Huge kickoff return, first play. They throw the bomb and get the 7 back. Southwick with the pump fake, the perfect strike to Miller, his leading receiver, and it's 24-7. Fleischman Planetarium on campus here at the University of Nevada, Reno. Planets are smaller than I thought they'd be. 24-7 Boise State. This was a well-designed play, wasn't it?
Yeah, what Boise State was doing was setting up the receiver screen to Williams Rhodes. So watch Wooten, the cornerback, who sees that it's a screen, and Matt Miller right here is running to block him. You also have a vertical route by the tight end Huff, and so watch the safety as Wooten comes up to defend the screen. Because the tight end is running through the middle of the field, the receiver Miller runs right by him. Now Wooten did the right thing. The corner in that situation, the corner has to come up and play against the screen to the wide receiver. That's the right read. It's just because Huff, the tight end, and Miller were running vertical. There's no way that the safety Johnson can get over there to make that play.
Goodale to kick to Brock from the goal line. Spins off a tackle, takes it out near the 25. And now Nevada, let's see how they can come back psychologically from that stunning 2-play touchdown drop. Fajardo throwing the flanker screen after a fake to Ricky Turner. A nicely designed play as well.
And things are getting really difficult for the teams with the wind. It is now shifted again and looks like it's coming a bit again right to left from behind Nevada. On the last drive for Boise State, it was directly at the back.
I'm looking at the small flags on top, the banners on top of the goalpost. On one end, they're blowing toward the middle of the field. On the other end, they're blowing toward the middle of the field. So it's just all over the place. And the forecast said we would get more wind as the day went on. But fortunately, it's not like the last 2 days with cold rain and a lot more wind.
And here they are, Nevada, in that 3rd down again, where they've really struggled today. They've been throwing mostly on 3rd down. I think this is something, maybe a zone read or an option for Fajardo. This feels like Nevada's been able to run it. Why not run it here?
5-man coming on the blitz. Fajardo spins out of it. Still in trouble. Can he get away? Still on his feet. Still on his feet. First down. What a play. Cody Fajardo dead to rights. 5 guys had their hands on him and nobody could bring him down until he was past the 40. That was good.
Johnny Manziel. Weren't we just talking about Manziel? I had the game last week, A&M against Missouri. And this looks a lot like what Johnny Manziel has done. And the offensive line, give the offensive line credit. They were picking up little nick blocks along the way.
This presentation of college football presented by Kay Jewelers will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. A quarter to go from Reno, Nevada. Boise State with a 24-7 lead. First down from the 41. Fajardo wants it all and overthrows. Flag is down. This is going to be interference. Bradley had a step on Jamar Taylor.
And this is a mental error by Taylor. Because the ball was overthrown, they went right at him. Fajardo was looking the entire time.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 5. 15-yard penalty. First down.
But I think that Taylor felt like the receiver had more of a step on him. And I think he also felt like the ball was better thrown. But if Taylor were able, he sees the ball and he reaches out and pulls the arm down of Aaron Bradley. Well, and I think Bradley may have gotten away with a little stumble fake there, too. I'm not so sure how much Taylor really pulled on that arm. But when you pull that arm down, as he's going for it, they're going to call it. And that's a big break for Nevada. Right there, it's the arm bar, and boy, Bradley just took kind of an awkward step.
Well, Bradley limped off the field. He
was
really gimpy going toward the sideline.
Yeah, I think it was the right call, but it wasn't as bad as we initially thought when we saw it live.
He's back out there now. Bradley, number 81. Jefferson has gone over the 100-yard mark. Fajardo runs out of trouble again. If he gets back and sits at the pocket, he has been some target because the pass rush has been relentless. But when he moves, he's tough.
Watch the athleticism of Demarcus Lawrence. Whips the guard, gets beat by Fajardo, and then spins back around and comes and makes the tackle. This is a pretty good athlete, first year out of junior college. It's been a nice surprise for this defense.
9.5 sacks coming in. He's 13th in the country in that department. So he has been a great find for them. Jefferson tests the left side. Burst by Jefferson. Still on his feet, pushed out of bounds inside the 10. 28 yards. Jefferson now with 131 for the game.
A game that felt like it may become a blowout there for a little while in the first half, and then in the second half, Nevada has come out. They've gotten their running game going. Fajardo's looked better throwing the ball, much more accurate, and all of a sudden, Nevada midway through the fourth quarter cut this to a 10-point ball game.
And remember the turnover at the 1. Jefferson again, big hole, touchdown. Jefferson almost at his average of 142.2 yards a game, which is second in the country, has 139 in this one, and we still have quite a ways to go in the game. 8:26 on the clock.
Well, we've talked a lot about senior day here, and what a great block by the left guard, Chris Barker, who pulled around, and he was the reason that Jefferson was able to kind of walk into the end zone. As the PAT goes through good, watch big number 75. Good feet there. The linebacker made a move, but the senior making his last start blocks for the junior, who's starting to put up some pretty good numbers against a good defense.
Welcome back to Reno, where we have a much closer game at this point, 24-14. Nevada to kick it away, down 2 scores. Very short kick. Williams Rhodes slips a tackle out to the 38-39 yard line. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Southwick now 17 of 23 for 182 and 2 scores. Jefferson 28 carries, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's only 9 yards short of the Mountain West all-time single-season record. And Miller now with 6 catches, his first career 100-yard game and a touchdown. Harper back in tailback.
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see nothing but runs here for Boise State. You're up 2 scores. It's windy. Your defense has played well all year. Even though Nevada's looked really good offensively, finally in the second half, I'm not so sure that Chris Peterson's going to let his offensive coaches call more than maybe some screens here.
Although he is the master of, you think you know what's coming?
Yeah,
I got one for you.
And here, Southwick runs out so that Harper can do the Wildcat.
Harper to take the direct snap. Williams Rhodes in motion. Harper straight ahead. First down to midfield. Well, it was fancy looking, but it turned out to be a straight ahead run.
And good patience by Harper. On the run before, he did the same thing. Watch this hesitation right here. The hole was supposed to be over to the left. You could see there was a blocker coming in motion, but Nevada did a good job of clogging that up, and because he was good and patient, was able to slip over to the right where a hole had opened up as Nevada was closing down the run line.
Now out of the eye. Southwick wants it all. Incomplete, contact, no flag. Boldevine with that big body at 6'4", 214 down the sideline, but covered beautifully by Garrett.
Yeah, I think Garrett may have gotten away with it a little bit. Remember, there is no face guarding in college, so Garrett doesn't have to turn back. But as he's running,
he ran
into him. And Boldevine, as he's fighting to come back, this needs to be pass interference. This is more pass interference than the call on Jamar Taylor just a few moments ago.
Right.
I think Taylor's probably was pass interference. That one clearly was and was missed.
Draw play to Harper. Boy, the Nevada defense had to be ready for a run on that play, and it didn't appear that they were. Gain of about 7. The previous incompletion stopped the clock, but it's running now. 6:49. And for Harper, 17 carries, 107 yards. So both tailbacks with big ball games.
And now if you're Nevada, here you are. And you're in that zone where you've got to think Boise State may go for it on 4th down. But you have to think, if you're Nevada, you're selling out for the run play.
Have to. Southwick throws, and he's got Miller. And that's why they're so tough. They had to run in that situation. Yep. It was 2-down territory. They had to run, and they come out and throw.
And you come out, that's the hard part of defending Boise State. They do so many things. That's humongous personnel. You have all your tight ends. You have everybody around the line of scrimmage like you're going to run between the tackles. And then you take Miller, who all of a sudden looks indefensible, and put him over the middle of the field. And if you have a guy that you can trust, a quarterback, to make that throw, which now it looks like Boise State does. Yes. They may not have had him earlier in the year. That's a big deal.
Harper again. Runs into Rossetti. Rossetti, the leading tackler on this ball club. An undersized defensive end a year ago. Then they put him at middle linebacker at 6'2", 240.
And now Nevada, with those 3 timeouts, having to start using them. You just can't let this entire game run away without at least getting a chance of getting the ball back.
Harper again. Nice cut. Drilled by Rossetti as he got to the 5.
And I think for Boise State, if you're doing the math, you've got to be thinking 7 here, because a field goal keeps it 2 scores, and now Nevada doing everything they can to preserve some clock with those timeouts. But so I think this is the down where you take your shot. I think you maybe bunch up Nevada one more time with all of the big bodies, and then get another run action pass here. You can get the first down, but I think this is the down. If you're Boise State, you think, if we get 6, this is over. Clock
at 3:40, stopped because of the penalty. Southwick in the shotgun, looks right, comes back left with a screen, and Rossetti really had this one figured out. He immediately got Harper and dropped him.
Excellent job by Rossetti. He starts all the way across this formation, all the way over to the right. He's lined up on the head of Harper, and he fights through all of the linemen to get over there and make the tackle. He had Harper in coverage. Here's Rossetti right there. Watch him fight through this entire, just snipped it the whole way, no offensive lineman. And now that tackle keeps Nevada alive, because you assume Boise State's going to kick the field goal here to go up 13 to make it 2 touchdowns to lose the game, but he kept his team in here, because if they score, it's over.
We could point out Boise State has faked field goals before with exceptionally well-designed plays. But you would think in this case they would just go ahead and do it. They already have a 20-yard field goal. Forcina lining up for 30.
And the wind has died down considerably. I don't even think it's a factor right now.
And Forcina knocks it through from 30 yards. And Boise State extends its lead by 3. Last drive, even though it got them only 3 points, took 5 minutes and 1 second off the clock. That's the biggest stat from that drive. Brock and Hale are deep to receive. Brock, return left, has a seam. And heels over tin cups by Dante Dion. Let's go to Janine.
Well, Mike, you guys had mentioned earlier that Nevada wide receiver Brandon Wimberly, who had suffered from that gunshot wound, was positioning for a 6th year of eligibility. Well, I asked him, why does he want to come back, and why did he say he thinks this team could win a conference title next year? He said, not because I think they'll be better, because I don't think I've played my best football yet. I have so much more to give in terms of leadership, maturity, and being grateful for opportunities.
Boy, and you really just hope that he gets the chance to do that. Young man who was told he would not play again, but has obviously come back to play at a very high level coming into this game. 61 catches, 749 yards.
They'll need all of him right now. This has got to be very, very fast. Touchdown, onside kick.
Fajardo steps into one. What a catch! The tight end Sudfeld clutched it to his chest. That's a young man who turned it over at the 1. But what hands on that catch, and 47 yards.
And did you see what Sudfeld did at the end of that run? He put both arms around that ball and squeezed it to his chest. Wonderful throw by Fajardo. Excellent catch. I'm not so sure that ball wasn't tipped by Tommy Smith as it went over. But watch Sudfeld. He learned his lesson. This ball, I believe, gets tipped. Oh, yes, it does. And Sudfeld makes a great adjustment, because that ball wasn't barely tipped. That ball was knocked off of its plane, and Sudfeld made a wonderful adjustment on, with the ball only in the air, a couple more feet.
Go ahead and try that in your backyard. Have the ball deflected and see if you can still follow it and catch it. First down from the 15. Good decision there by Fajardo. His receiver was covered. It was a dangerous pass, and he threw it out of bounds.
Here's the crazy part for Nevada. They all of a sudden have plenty of time here, because you score, you have to do the onside kick. And if you do the onside kick and it's successful, you're getting the ball near midfield. So I'm not saying burn all of this clock, but get your calls right. You can do some run game in here. Be ready to kill it if you need to after you pick up the first down.
Fajardo straight back to throw. Bradley over the middle. Dives for a first down at the 6. It'll be 1st and goal. No, just short. Excuse me.
And I think you throw one here. I think you throw one to the end zone here on 3rd and short.
3rd and inches. Fajardo on the keeper. Touchdown. Well, how about this?
Goes back to a senior, Rossetti, making the tackle on that screen. If he doesn't make that tackle, this doesn't matter. This is all window dressing.
You are absolutely right. 27-21, and still 2:27 to go in the game.
And oh, by the way, touchdown extra point wins it for Nevada after this.
Now back to your point about time. Since Nevada does not have any timeouts, they've got to try the onside kick. But if they get it, there's oodles of time.
Isn't that crazy how that
really is?
Yeah. Can you get back? You know, I wonder if this is one of those buildings where you're let back in
don't know.
or not, because all of a sudden, in what may be the last time that Boise State and Nevada play in the same conference, which, for the record, I think is a shame, and I don't think is all said and done the way the Big East is falling apart, because that's where Boise State is contractually headed after this season. I'm not so sure that's going to go through, but what a fitting end to this rivalry if this were, in fact, a recovered onside kick by Nevada.
Yeah, there may be some rethinking going on, and you would have to assume that if you sign up to go to a conference that's in one form and it's morphed 50% past what it was, that you'd have to rethink it. Well, it comes down to this. The onside kick. Colin Ditzworth. And Boise State recovers at the 49-yard line. DJ Harper, the star tailback, in on the hands team, and he gets it. And now with only 2:25 to go and no timeouts, they can kill it.
That was a really good kick by Ditzworth, though.
Yes, it was.
He wanted to go bang, bang, and then jump, and he did. But Harper was right there, read the ball perfectly. And Nevada almost knocked this ball out of Harper's hands. Because it was such a good kick, number 32, Nick Hale, a running back, against a running back, almost knocked it out. And now I think Boise State should just take knees, because if I'm Nevada, I'd let them score here. It's the only way you're going to get another chance.
Harper stuffed it.
You know, it's funny. I've got a chart about how much clock you can run off when you have no timeouts. Because the clock was stopped, and now Boise State, because of the penalty, well, the clock restarts because the penalty was declined, but Nevada can get this ball back with a little bit of time on the clock if they get a stop here.
Harper straight ahead, and there's that defense rising up again. That time it was the tackle, Jordan Hansen.
And now, if you're Boise State, I think you're in a place where you have to run the ball again. But right now, this defense for Nevada has, I think Boise State's offense put the hay in the barn when they went up 13. And all of a sudden, they're on their heels. And because of the clock, because of the amount of time that was left, Nevada now has a chance to get this ball back.
And if they do force a punt, do you come after him? Harper straight ahead. And he's going to be stopped 2 yards shy of a first down with 1:03 to go.
I think if you're Boise State, I think you should punt this ball and let your defense win the game for you.
If you're Nevada, do you try to block it?
I think you come after it, and I think this is very risky for Boise State to go for it. I think they may be trying to pull Nevada, or they're going to do the short punt.
Southwick floats it up. Did the ball break the plane? It did.
So now you're Nevada with 17 seconds left. You figure between 5 and 8 seconds per play. So figure you might have 4. The wind is not much of a factor anymore. So if you get anywhere, call it the 40 or 50-yard line, you're at least going to have, I think, one throw. And Fajardo has plenty of arm to get it there once you get out to midfield. But here's the key, though. You have no timeout, so you can't do anything that doesn't stop the clock. You can't throw it in front of the sticks. You can't throw it anywhere in the middle of the field. Everything's got to be the sideline or beyond the sticks.
With a win, Boise State has a share of the Mountain West in presumably their last year. This pass underthrown and stops the clock with 13 seconds left. Intended for Turner, who was open, but the heat was on.
Yeah. Well, this was DeMarcus Lawrence, who has just made such an impact this entire season. So athletic, goes right by Bitonio, the right tackle, because the receiver was open that the quarterback was looking at, but it was the pressure.
Fajardo deep out, got that one to Wimberly.
Now you've got to run up and kill the ball here. You've got to go up and kill it, and you're only going to have time for one after this.
Gain of 22, and they will kill the clock with 6 seconds left, but they're taking it right down to the last tick.
And I think this one you have to throw to the end zone. I just don't think you have enough time to get any more yardage. So Boise State defensive coach is telling their secondary, everyone's going back, and they're going to play this as the deep throw. And who would believe that Nevada would actually have a chance to win this game at the end?
It's a remarkable effort in the second half. Fajardo throwing it as far as he can. Jump ball and incomplete. That's what you're supposed to do on a Hail Mary. Knock it down.
And it was the pressure again for Boise State. How many times have you said that? Have we said that today and throughout the season? The defensive line for Boise State, even down one of their best players, still brings the heat because Fajardo just didn't have time to load up and get that all the way down.
But you know, you talk about the comeback in the second half. You would expect nothing less out of a Chris Ault coach team, would you?
No, they've been a second half team all year. But
Wimberly went up, did everything he could, but the Boise State defense was there.
Yeah, did you see the head coach check for one more tick on the clock? They just wanted to make sure it was over.
All right, let's go to Janine Edwards. Janine?
Coach Peterson, congratulations. Considering you only had 5 returning starters and you now finished the regular season at 10-2 and a share of the Mountain West title, what kind of a statement did your team, especially your younger players, just make?
Well, we're proud of everybody. I mean, from our older guys to our young guys, I think everybody got better each week. They came to work every day, they practiced hard, and it showed up.
You said you were going to need your best game of the season on defense. What did your defense do best today?
They did just enough. And, you know, we have a lot of respect for Nevada. I mean, they can move the ball with the best of them. They score points with the best of them. So they did a nice job against a very good offense.
Yeah, especially that second half. Now, if things play out the way it looks like they might and you guys leave the conference, what will you miss most and take away from this rivalry, your games against Nevada?
Well, we know we're going to always have a hard-fought game against Nevada. That we know. They're well coached. Coach Ault's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. And our guys enjoy playing against them because we always have hard-fought games.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hopefully not the last game in the rivalry, but the way things are today, it very well could be. What a finish to what a game as Nevada comes back to make it 27-21, but they lose to Boise, who will share the Mountain West title in their final game in the conference. Once again, the final score here in Reno. Boise State 27, Nevada 21. Now we send you to John Saunders with the college football post-game show.